Okay, so I've been getting a little bit of criticism from the peanut gallery out here on YouTube land as to how I'm loading this thing and the size of the spreader and efficiency and power takeoff speeds and everything else that you could possibly imagine with these videos I've been posting lately. We're going to address the Pequea spreader first. Pequea was kind enough to send me 3 pieces of equipment: a tedder, a rake, and this lovely SL6 spreader. I like this spreader. I don't find it to be too small. I don't find it to be awkward in any way. It is a little hokey on spreading fertilizer under 200 pounds to the acre, but I have addressed that with speed. I opened the gate a bit more and have gotten that surging out of it. It really didn't seem to make much difference in visually seeing the spread pattern on the ground. I went over some barren ground and checked it out, and it looked okay, but the guys from Pequea, Ryan from Pequea, and his, for the life of me, I can't remember the other guy's name. It's terrible. He had an unfortunate table saw accident, which rendered 2 of his fingers with 19 stitches in them. But anyways, yeah, they said just kind of, get over 200 pounds and everything will be, it'll work a lot better. And they're right. I had done that already, but I just thought that was worth mentioning. If you have any questions about the Pequea spreader, the SL6 that you're looking at me fill right here, you can go to the Pequea website and you click on the spreaders, and you can see the SL6 like here and the SL10 lime spreader. This one here does fertilizer and lime. The SL10 does not do fertilizer very well at all. Very hard to get it. You got to be putting a large amount of fertilizer on in order for that one to work properly. But hopefully with a little research and development here, they will. I have a suggestion, and I suggested it to them, to make it have an optional drag chain instead of just the apron chain like is in there, but for switching between fertilizer and lime. And I don't think it would take long to change it out. Maybe about 15 minutes is all I think it would do, and we'll see if that comes to fruition, because I think they got something really good here. Now I know you Europeans and you the Irish and the English and all the other guys are like, oh, that's a little piece of shit spreader. Well, it's not. I mean, I even had one saying that it's an American thing, a stupid American machine. Well, you know what? It is an American machine. It's built right here in the good old US of A, and hopefully this review you're about to see, it will change your mind a little bit about the construction of it. And yes, I know there are spreaders out there that will run on the GPS, and they have ground radar and all that other stuff, and not to say that that Pequea wouldn't put that on, but it's just not available at this moment. So if you would just take a little time and check it out on Pequea.com, I think you'd be more than pleased as to what you see there. And hopefully, as you see these videos of me running the hell out of this thing, you will change your minds on it also. It's just really, I'm not saying this stuff because I'm really getting anything out of it. Well, I am getting something out of it. I'm using it, but I'm not being gentle on it, and I'm not going to give a crappy review. I'm going to tell you how I see it and how I feel about it, and that's just the long and the short of it. If it fails miserably, like I said earlier in another video, that I would be in contact with Pequea and they would come out and fix the problem, and I would show you the fix before I just went apeshit on it, because I haven't paid for this thing. They have made me, they have given this to me to do a review on. And Ryan also told me that come June, when I'm spreading strictly lime, that he would bring out the SL10, which is a 10-ton spreader, which is more like what the European guys are looking for. So thanks, and enjoy the rest of the video. Got some wear on the spinners now. There's still a little bit of potash and ammonium sulfate in there. Yeah, so I kind of want to give an overview. Yeah, this thing isn't very big, like a lot of people have said, but for spreading fertilizer, you don't really need a huge spreader. For spreading the type of lime that I want to spread, a bigger spreader would have been great. But beggars can't be choosers. Pequea was kind enough to send me this equipment to run, basically for free advertising. This is the only company that has enough confidence in their equipment to give them to me, because a lot of people in the industry look at me and they're like, oh my god, that's the worst kind of guy we want to give that equipment to. This guy runs hard, long and hard. He runs long and hard, and I do have a pretty strict maintenance schedule, but I run long and hard. This thing, I'll grease it in the morning and go to the field, and bam, it's there all day long banging out fertilizer. I can do quite a few loads. I'm moving at 10 miles an hour across sometimes rough fields, sometimes nice and smooth ones, but about 8 to 10 miles an hour, depending on how much product I want to put to the ground. I will say that so far it has worked out quite well. Flawless. I haven't gotten stuck with it, but that also has to do with the tractor. But Pequea is coming actually today with the owner of the company. How many people can say that the owner of the company came out to visit them? You know, they usually just send the top man, but the owner of this company is coming out to visit with me today. They got their service manager or their service advisor. He's going to come out. He's going to show me what to look for and what not to look for on these pieces of equipment, as far as wear, tear, grease points, you know, where I should be concerned, where I shouldn't be concerned. For the most part, I don't think I should be concerned with anything. Of course, I've only gotten 4 or 5 buggy loads of material out with this thing so far. There are a couple of things that are concerning as far as fertilizer spreading that are they're a non-issue when it comes to spreading lime. And I never really noticed this before on some of the other spreaders, but as you can see, this apron chain is just solid bars, okay? And these solid bars, they have a tendency to want to carry material back to the front. So as this comes around, it'll collect a little bit of fertilizer and carry it to the front, and then it'll drop onto the ground. It will drop onto the ground as the chain falls forward. Now, I have never seen so far in the 4 or 5 bucket loads or buggy loads that I've used, I haven't really seen anything come here and drop down. Now, it's not to say that there wasn't a couple of pieces that did that. Obviously, you can see some material that has built up here, which will have to be washed off pretty soon, you know, after I'm done with fertilizer. I did go out into the spread pattern and look to see if there was a difference in the center of the spreader than there was, say, 20 feet out on either side or 40 feet between. I could not tell a difference. So as far as fertilizer spreading, this thing works wonderfully. I will say that I think that the rate at 3 on the apron was a little fast. It seemed like I was putting a little more on than I should have. So actually I sped the tractor up when I realized. I sped it up 0.2 of a mile an hour. But then when I got in, I looked at the arrow. I mean, when I got out to do the third load, I looked at the arrow and it was a little bit above the 3. So, and if you look at it, it may still even be a little bit above the 3. I want to be pretty right on. I'd rather go a little heavy than a little light, you know, if you know what I mean. But this machine, somebody was saying that the tractor was whining a lot. It wasn't. This machine runs a hydraulic pump. Here's the hydraulic pump. And the hydraulic, you know, here's the reservoir. I mean, everything's in there. And the guys at Pequea, whoever put it together, they did kind of overfill this. And I did have a little bit, because oil expands with heat, and it did kind of spill over, but that's no big deal. You know, what, a couple of tablespoons, no big deal at all. And I'm actually kind of happy with it because that'll keep it from rusting if, you know, in the event that I do get a pinhole in the paint. But yeah, so what else I want to say about this thing? It seems very stout. I love the buggy frame. It's built very, very well. Made with, I think that's going to be 6-inch channel iron. I guess I could walk over here and grab my tape measure. I don't want to show what's in my toolbox. you know, you can get a lot of money into a toolbox with just like a 6 or, come on thing. Yeah, we're looking at a 6-inch channel iron there. So it's built with 6-inch channel iron, and as you can see, you're looking at 5/16 steel that this is built from to mount that to that, so that it's not going to fall apart. Everything on here is built very, very tough, including the spinners. I mean, have you ever seen spinners that are 1/4 inch? Yeah, that's 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch spinners, 1/4 inch plate there. This thing really is a top-notch spreader. And like I've said before, everything, and the other thing is everything is online. If you go online, you can scan this with your phone. That'll put you right into this chart, and you can adjust with the tractor and everything right here, from gate openings, which I found to be very handy if you've never you know, a lot of times you'll get a spreader and it's right here on the side like this one is, and this will get faded, but there's so much more information online, and it's accessible on your phone. So let me see if I can find it real quick. I know I didn't do anything silly with it, I think. Believe me, this thing holds a lot of fertilizer. But you don't even notice it back here with a 200 horsepower tractor. The other thing is, the guys are like, oh my God, it's so small, it's so small. It's not small. This thing's actually longer than the Wilmar and the Newton Crouch that I've owned. But if you want to make it taller, it's got pockets. And I have every intention of utilizing these pockets when I go to the lime spreader side of it. As you can see in the back there, it has fed out very evenly. It's not hanging up anywhere. The gate is huge, so when you do get into a liming product and you want to put a lot of material down, like 1.5 tons to 2 tons or 3 tons to the acre, you're going to go through a lot of material. So that's where sides would come in awful handy on this size machine. Grease points are very accessible. I don't have any problems. I can get my grease zerks guns on there. This one here is a little awkward because it is so close, but believe it or not, the what do you call it? The lock and lube actually fits on there. If you want to change the spread pattern to throw more to the back, you pull pins on either side there and you slide that forward. Yeah, you slide that forward. Let me think. That will probably put it off more to the sides. It's all the way back, and I haven't noticed any problems with the spread pattern. It's 40 feet, like they said. I imagine that would give me a little more width if I pulled it out a little bit, because that'll move the spinners farther out. Yeah, that would narrow it up. This is all the way where it belongs. And this thing here is kind of funny. It's so simple. It does what it's supposed to do. And the funny thing about it is, why I say it's funny, is because about 25 or so years ago, maybe more than that, early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s, I had a lime spreader, and it had this fancy stainless steel gizmo in there. I still have the lime spreader. I was going to rebuild it, just never got around to it. And it was rusted off because it was steel, and then it had stainless steel pins that you had to hold it together. And I built something exactly like this. And I was up at CPS a long time ago, and they had Wilmar spreaders there, and the Wilmar guy they were just delivering brand new ones. They come over and they're like, that's not going to work. How can you adjust your width of spread with a machine, with a piece like that in there? I was like, well, I don't know, it seems to work just fine. And it did. It worked so fine that like 30 years later, Peckway is building the exact, and I'm not kidding you, exact same thing. The only difference is I didn't have a fancy bend in here. I had it straight up and down. I didn't tilt it forward. I actually had it tilted back. But, you know, that's just different design. I threw it together because I was a stupid kid, and it worked. And I'm sure the engineers at Peckway have figured out that that damn thing will work very well. One thing I don't like is right here, 13, number 13. Couldn't you do 13.5 or 14? Come on, guys, 13 on the door. That shit's bad luck, man. Bad luck. Yeah, but everything else so far is great. Hopefully I get some good footage of this thing running, maybe a little later today or tomorrow or the next day or whenever, and get it up on there. And obviously, if there's any problems, you're going to see them too. But so far, nothing. Thanks for watching.